we're going to get started here. So we're going to do end of year preparation in Schoolnet. And my name is Catherine Simone. I am with Pearson Education. I support Schoolnet in North Carolina. As I mentioned, Rebecca Stokes had a conflict this afternoon, so she was not able to make it, but she is here in spirit, I know. So please let me know if you have any questions. CEU credits, I will admit, this is not my department, but it equals 1 hour of credit for the live session only, not the recording, which we will post after the fact. And the type of credit is determined by your school's approval process. Okay. All right, our goals for today are to share with you some of the Schoolnet content updates, the plan for the new ELA standards, assessments, reusing assessments for the next school year, rosters and reporting reminders, and Schoolnet support. Okay. Okay. Logging into Schoolnet, you should all be using NC Ed Cloud. When you log in to NC Ed Cloud, you will see this red icon here, and you click that, and that will get you to Schoolnet. If you are training teachers or folks in your organization, you are always free to use this training site. And we gave you a teacher account and password that you can use to log in with. And this, you can't hurt that site. You can do anything, create tests. There are scrambled students in there, all kinds of information. Works just like the live site, but it's no PII data, so you can use it for training sessions. Okay, we do have a couple of item banks, and I'll switch over and show you that in a bit after I get through a couple slides. But these are Google Sheets, and if you click on the link in the Google Sheet, on the Google Sheet, for the Google Sheet, you will get the item counts for the North Carolina item banks. For North Carolina, we have a classroom bank, which is available to all users. We have a benchmark bank, which is available to only administrators. And these are updated twice a year, once in the winter around January, and once in the summer, probably closer to July. We also have a KDS bank, which stands for Key Data Systems. That bank is updated quarterly. The KDS bank is the only one that has technology enhanced items, and that also has a bank that is fully in Spanish if you are looking for alternate language items. Okay. For anyone joining now, please check the chat. I'm putting the link to the PowerPoint in the chat so you can access it. We also have state assessments. These are the few final exams left. We no longer have social studies or science because those standards have been revised. We have math release tests. We have math testlets and supplemental forms, and also the CTE IP11 test, which if your school had those particular courses, we would have pushed them out to you at the beginning of the year. Sorry if I'm speaking slow. I am also trying to monitor the chat at the same time. So our key data systems bank was last updated on March 25th to 26th, and the DPI items January 16th. And this is if you go into Schoolnet, assessments, item banks, these are screenshots of what you would see. Okay, EOY processes. Let's get started on the end of the year. As many of you may know, the ELA standards will change, not for this school year, but for the 27-28 school year. Our goal in Schoolnet is to, at the end of the school year, these standards should be board approved, and we will have them loaded to both the training and the production sites as preview standards. This is very important. So you will see when you look in the item banks, if you're searching, for instance, on English Language Arts, 5th grade, you would see the current standard set, which is still viable until June 2026. And you will also see the English Language Arts preview standards, in addition to the extended standards, okay? This first set of standards, the current ELA standards, will be retired or archived on June 30th, 2027. So a little over a year from now, we will be archiving those standards. Why are we bringing this to your attention now? Because there's a bit of work that you may want to undertake in your school or district prior to this June 30th date. And we'll talk about that in a moment. So the existing items in Schoolnet will be removed, all ELA items that are either DPI item banks or KDS item banks. The DPI items will be removed, and with each substantial upload, they will be replaced in Schoolnet, as will the KDS. Please note, we currently have, I think it's maybe 70,000 ELA items. It will take time to build that bank up again. So it will be not as robust in July of next year. Okay, so I want to caution everyone on that. Why we're bringing this to your attention now at the end of this school year, when you have a year out, is because if you have self-created items in Schoolnet, be it teachers creating, school admins creating, or you have a school bank or district bank of ELA items, while we will not be removing your items, the standards will be stripped from the items when they're archived. And the items would no longer be viable to use on a test. Your tests that you currently have for ELA, if they remain the way they were, you would not be able to copy them into the next year without realigning the standards. Hence, that's the reason why we are having the standards sit side by side, so that when you are looking at items you may want to realign, you would see the current standards and the future standards. Okay. Now, we've already been through this process twice with social studies and science. So here we've linked a recording of the social studies items webinar realignment, and you can kind of get the gist of what you'll be doing with ELA. But we want to alert you that we will be posting multiple recordings and hosting several webinars after June 30th. and into the June 30th, 2027, so that people will have ample time to recoup and realign their ELA items and tests. But in the meantime, you are free to share this link with anyone in your school or PSU that may need this knowledge to get started. Okay, I'm going to pause there for a moment on the ELA standards. And if you have a question, if you would just drop it in the chat, that would be great. All right, I see someone typing. Oh, yes, Emily, you know what? Let me show you where you can find that real quick. You can actually, oh, let me share my screen again. Sorry, admit this person, share my screen. So if you log into Schoolnet on your home screen, either as a teacher or an administrator, I think the science might be here. If it's not, I will have to dig that link up. You know what? I'm sorry. I thought it was here. My apologies. I'll have to look for that and I'll try to get it to you when I finish with the slide deck, Emily. But good point. Yes, there was one for science as well. All right, let me go back to this. Okay, so the ELA standard segues into the reminder to copy tests from previous year. So at the end of the year, on June 30th, Schoolnet will shut down, the sync will shut down for about 2 weeks before we resume it. And when you go back into Schoolnet after your July 4th vacation, then you will see that the year has changed and the school year will be listed as 2026 rather than 2025. When you go back to pick up a test that you may have created this year and you administered to students or not even administered, just create it, you will need to copy it over to the next year in order to schedule it. We have a quick reference document here that talks about how to reuse tests, but it's very easy. You just find a test and right on the test detail page, you're going to see this icon here that says the schedule for this test has ended. You're going to hit copy test. If for any reason the test was not scheduled, there is a drop down. This button will not show, but you'll have a drop down and you will see copy test. When you copy the test, we urge you you can keep the same title, but we urge you to change the year. You will also automatically see the word copy in parentheses placed in the title. Delete the word copy, update the year, and click generate the test, and you'll be ready. CG, I see a question in the chat. Do the questions in the KDS bank reflect the types of TEI questions that should be on the EOG for this year? Yes, they do. We actually, I think you'll see there's a list of resources when I get to the end of this deck that Rebecca has put together, and there should be the TEI correlation doc that talks about what we call the items, the TEI items in net, and what they're called on the EOGs. Hope that answers your question. Okay, great. All right, copying tests over, very important. However, just remember, for this year, you're going to be fine unless you did not address standards for science and social studies that needed to be changed. If that is the case, then you would follow the webinar. Just as a side note, we did 2 webinars, one for science, one for social studies. They're not any different other than the selection of the standards. So just to be clear, it's not unique to each subject area, okay? All right. But at the end of next year, you will need to make sure that you address those ELA standards before you are able to copy over any reading and writing tests into the 2027 school year. Okay, I'm going to pause there for a minute. Any questions on copying tests or any other questions? And we're going to move into co-teacher section requests. At the end of this year, as I said, you're going to have that 2-week period where Schoolnet is not syncing to Infinite Campus, just so everyone can roll over their data. When we resume the syncs and we pick up your new schedules, students, teachers, etc., co-teachers will need to re-request access to sections. All of that will be removed. If they had requested this year, it's gone because we have new schedules, and these are the directions for co-teachers. Now, let me please advise you that this is a 2-part process. The teacher needs to go to My Account. It's in the top right banner of Schoolnet. Click My Account, then click Sections and Rosters. There's this little obscure link that says click here, and then they can either search by the course name or the last name of their co-teacher. I prefer the last name. It seems to be quicker than figuring out what the course code is. That one's pretty foolproof. And then you have to click search, find the teacher. They request the sections and then save. The second part is someone in leadership needs to go to their approval alerts and approve the section requests. There are full-blown directions here for the teacher, all right, step by step, which you can download, or for leadership. These are all in the Google Drive for you, okay? All right. And then back here. Any questions about co-teachers? All right, moving on. Reporting. At the end of this year, again, with the rollover and new rosters, a lot of times you may not necessarily be back in session, classes haven't started, but you are looking at your current list of students data from the previous year, okay? Or you want to, check district benchmarks, school assessments from the previous year. If you need access to data from the 25-26 school year, after the rollover, you need to change this current enrollment at the top of the reporting dashboard, and I'll show you that in a minute, to 25-26, sorry, get my years messed up. And let me just, whoops, sorry. I'm just going to try to minimize this. That's the first thing. Also, with the rollover, you need to check the student's PMP. So let me get to the training site and show you a little bit about that right now. Oops, I did not. Let me go in as a leadership person. Do this teacher. Okay, so reporting dashboard right here. After the rollover, you are looking for the previous year's data and get rid of some of these screens so I'm not going so slow. Up here on the top right, you have current enrollment. And this is the training site, so we don't have 25, 26 in here, but you can change the year right here. Okay. All right. The next thing that I was talking about was the student's PMP. And let me just grab one of my students. I'm a teacher, so I have to here. Just going to grab a student. Okay, this is the student profile page. If you are trying to use text to speech, any types of accommodations that are set within the test, or you need to also set them in the student's PNP. So when I click on this tab, this particular student in the scrambled site does not have any accommodations set. If I wanted this child to be able to access text to speech on a test that was created with text to speech, I would click this button. I can change the voice, the slow, fast. I could give them color contrast, line reader, answer masking, any type of accommodation that's listed here. Hit save. And now this student's PNP is set. That is something you need to review after the rollover and at the beginning of each year. CG, yes, that proficiency is set at the state level. I think you were referring to the reporting dashboard over here. And I think this is what you're referring to. These cannot be set individually by the PSU because it is set at the state level. That would have to be something that I guess DPI would take input from the districts, and we could revise this in the site, but we don't have the ability to change it for just one school. Okay. Okay, so reporting reminders and PMP. Any other questions on that one? Okay, let me go back here. Okay, so I am happy to report, so happy to report that since everyone is now syncing from Infinite Campus, we should no longer have an issue with students seeing their schedules prior to the start of school. I know with Power School, this is something we did not have the ability to control. But now with Infinite Campus, it has been set that students will not show in Schoolnet until the second day of school. Teachers, admins can create assessments, but they will not be able to be scheduled until students are viable within Schoolnet. Okay, just I know those parents out there that want to see the kids' schedules prior to starting school. Hopefully that will no longer be an issue for everyone. Okay, this next slide was a list of the webinars that we held this year for Schoolnet. And some of them we will definitely, in fact, roll over for the next year. But if you have a moment and you'd like to make a recommendation or you have some topics, this link down the bottom of the slide deck, which I'll re-put in the chat for you, is a Google form that you can provide Rebecca and I some feedback on topics that we could prepare for the next school year. And we are happy to accommodate and always looking for new topics. I think she had, oh, she didn't. And I promised you that resource page that I don't see in here. So let me see if I can get those couple of things. But let me pause there for a moment. Those are the topics you need to be aware of for the end of the school year. Anything else that I can locate for you, I am happy to do so. I'm going to go and grab the science webinar and get that link for you. And the other thing was let's see, something else. Sorry, ELA. Oh, the TEI item for, got it. Just give me one moment and feel free to put anything in the chat while I am grabbing those additional items for you. Okay, first let me share this with you. And then I will put the link in the chat. Oh, of course, I'm not the owner of this document, so maybe I can't. There, I got it. All right, this is the TEI correlation doc that Rebecca prepared, and I'll just explain this. The first column is the nomenclature for the EOC and EOG TEI item types. The second column is the Schoolnet name. And the third column, we've listed what banks you can find the items in. So while the EOG calls it numeric entry, this is what is known as a gridded question. It accepts any number, decimal, fraction, etc., no text. And it can be found in the DPI banks, the Classroom Bank, and the KDS Bank. Open response or short answer. These are teacher scored, can be found in all Schoolnet banks and KDS. Hotspot or text selection. That's when the students click on a particular item. We have text replacement, which is inline, drag and drop. Targeted drop questions we call gap match. Multi-select we call checklist. and cluster in Schoolnet we call a task. Okay, so I hope that helps the person that asked for that particular one. For do districts have to pay to have access to Schoolnet? Yes, Sarah, they opt in through the opt-in window will start in May. Let me see if I can get that information for you. Okay. So sorry, I'm just using Google because Rebecca's not here to support me on this one, but um, there is a page on the DPI site for opt-in. They have the pricing. They have an overview of the programs and Schoolnet. I I I think Schoolnet is not situated by itself. It's $1.50, but it includes um, Schoolnet, Nieces, believe something else, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and I won't have information or access to everything, but I believe if you just Google opt in to NC Ed Connect, you should get the information that you're looking for. Also, I believe that mine and Rebecca's emails, yes, are on this slide. You can email each of us respectively if, you know, together if you have a question about opt-ins. CG, you can email Rebecca and I. There are other places where you, if you're not using the reporting dashboard, where you could look at the data a little bit differently and set your proficiency. Okay, so if you want to reach out to us after the webinar via email, that would be fine. Anna, how do we get access to previous webinars that were this year? Okay, so for webinars from this year, I think this is the production site. In the production site, on the splash page, Rebecca, oh, here was the TEI correlation document. Sorry about that, guys. My mistake. I didn't realize she had that posted there. Here are the recordings of all the ones that we completed this year. And then this one will also be posted here when we are finished. There were two that, well, the standards one we decided to reschedule because the ELA was postponed. So that won't be coming soon. Also, this is where Rebecca posts the registration. I'm not sure how you all registered for this, if you saw this on another site. If you were able to register someplace else, I'm guessing that the recordings are also posted there. Down here, also on your main homepage in Schoolnet, there's the Schoolnet resources. That takes you back to the DPI page. There is Schoolnet resources, quick reference documents, and also, let me go back here to this one. Come on, let me do this. There is a Google group, which is sometimes very helpful. If you have a question, you could post it here. Either Rebecca, myself, or just another kind soul that is proficient in Schoolnet might respond to you and respond to your questions. So that's another great resource there. We always have the item counts that I mentioned. One thing I know we will talk about at the DLEs, which is virtual this year. So if anyone is attending the Digital Leadership Conference, we will be reviewing roles and permissions in Infinite Campus. And there is a quick reference guide there for that as well. Okay. Any other questions that I can help you with today? All right. Well, then that concludes our topics for today, and I will hang out on the line here and stay here if anyone has any additional questions. If not, have a great afternoon.